Okay.
All right, thank you. My name is Tom Livingston. I'd like to call this meeting of the Land Use and Building Management Committee of the Norwalk Common Council to order at 7:31 on Wednesday, October 7th. I'll start with a roll call of the members of the committee. Please just indicate that you're here for the record. Let's go through this. Ms. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Keegan?
Here.
Mr. Sacchinelli?
Present.
Mr. Hooverman?
Present.
Mr. Burnett?
Present.
Myself, and we're missing Kadeem Roberts at this point, but if he joins, we'll add him in. But we do have a quorum, so let's move on with the agenda. The first item is a public hearing for the disposition of city property located at the eastern corner of the intersection of West Cedar Street and Scribner Avenue, District 5, Block 64, Lot 423. Is there anyone on the call who wants to speak at this public hearing?
There's no one on the call at the moment.
Alan, are you aware of anything?
No, nobody had contacted me regarding attendance to the public hearing. Should I just go for briefly what this is about, so that regardless of whether somebody's here, so at least we have some description of what we are public hearing on today?
Well, we can, but we're going to be discussing this in old business, right?
Yeah.
We can either do it now or later. Since we have other people on the call, why don't we do it later?
Sure.
Unless there's any objection. All right, seeing that there's nobody else who wants to participate in the public hearing, I'll now, wait, hold on. Oh, here we go. Connecting. Mr. Matera, did you want to speak? We're just talking about the public hearing. Anything you want to say?
I am proposing to purchase the property at the intersection of Scribner Avenue and West Cedar Street. I'm looking to purchase it because on my parcel of property, there's about 80 feet of frontage, and there's a large grade difference in grade elevation, and I've tried every which way possible to get access to the parking that's underneath the structure. And I am proposing to, the city has told me that we will get a appraisal, and I assume that whatever the appraisal says would be the purchase price. And I've agreed to give the city a easement on the sewer line that is currently there. And I'm just hopeful that this all goes through.
Okay, thank you. And just to reiterate, Alan or Larry, there's nobody else who's signed up to speak at this portion of the meeting, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
All right, then I will declare the public hearing closed and move on to public participation, which has to do with the other items on the agenda. Is there anybody who has signed up to speak in the public participation portion of the meeting?
I do not, nobody contacted me.
No,
Larry,
okay. No one, no attendees either.
Okay, so let's close the public participation and move to approval of the minutes of the meeting September 2nd, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hooverman. Any comments, corrections, additions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote by hand for approval. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opposed. None, so it passes 6-0. So minutes pass as written. Okay, thank you. So let's move to old business. And the first item is to consider request from Norwalk Symphony to name portion of the Norwalk Concert Hall after Ms. Anita Benkin and schedule a public hearing. Alan, I know we have some people to speak about this item. Do you want to take the lead first?
I think there's I'm not with, you know what? I think someone maybe Mrs. McClaven may want to provide some description of the request, because I don't know the individual and I don't want to I don't know enough to provide description. So Sandra, if you don't mind.
And if you could state your, I'm sorry, if you could state your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Sure. Just so I can introduce, we have 3 members of the symphony on this call. My name is Sandra McClave. I'm the executive director. Chris Bell is our board president, and Lou Brody is one of our board vice president. And so Chris and Lou are going to present this for you.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, am I okay to go ahead and speak about this?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so Tom, I sent a letter to the Common Council, to Barbara Smith, requesting that the alleyway going to the walkway going to the community room be named in Anita Benkin's name. Anita moved to Norwalk in 1959. She, for the first 15 years of her life here with her family, she was very active in attending the Norwalk Symphony performances and Norwalk Youth Symphony performances. In the mid 70s, she became president of the Norwalk Youth Symphony and stewarded that for a few years. And then beginning in the 80s, in the early 80s, she became a member of the Women's Guild of the Norwalk Symphony. And then in the 90s, she became a board member of the Norwalk Symphony and was a board member until her death last year. And I will tell you, frankly, from my point of view, and I've been the president of the Norwalk Symphony now for 5 years or 6 years, and I would not have taken the role of president had it not been for her. She was a wonderful, incredibly inspiring person who was all about arts in Norwalk, and she dedicated a lot of her life to arts in Norwalk, whether it was to raising funds for the symphony, or finding a conductor or a music director or an executive director or whatever. She was wonderful. I joined the symphony board in about 7 years ago. Lou Brody is here. Lou Brody has been on the board about as long as Anita was, and Lou can speak more if anyone would like to hear about her dedication. But I can speak to how dedicated she was, and we've actually named an award for dedication to music and the arts in the city of Norwalk. We dedicated an award that we give annually now. She was the first recipient of the award while she was still alive. It's the Anita V. Benkin Award, and I think that we would like to have that wing named for her because she was instrumental in the continuation of great music in Norwalk, and whether it was with the youth orchestra or the symphony, she was instrumental in just continuation of it. Lou, I don't know if you'd like to say a word or two about Anita.
Well, yes, I've been on the board since the mid 60s, and I've worked very closely with Anita. She was an amazing, tireless woman doing just amazing things for the symphony. She may even have had a bunch to do with getting the symphony in the what's the old Norwalk High School. I grew up in Norwalk, and I went through the Norwalk music system myself, so I know a little bit about it. And everything that she did, it was with grace, it was with dedication and ambition. She was terrific. She helped us through some tough times with the symphony and help us get through that. And I can't say enough about her. She's just been a wonderful person, and we really deserve to have some sort of recognition of her devotion.
She raised her kids in Norwalk. They were all in the youth orchestra. They all went through music programs in Norwalk City schools. And I really believe that, as I say in the last sentence, that the city is a better place because of the effectiveness of her preserving the Norwalk Symphony. So for that reason, we'd like to ask that wing be named on her behalf.
Okay, well, before I turn it over for questions, I just want to thank you guys for coming, and thank you for all you do with the Symphony and Orchestra. It's really a tremendous asset for the city, and it's really appreciated by all of us. Does anybody have any questions?
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you're not doing anything on Sunday at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you can come to Town Hall and see an outdoor concert. So we have a quartet at 3 o'clock and a brass quintet at 5 o'clock. So.
Well, I wish I could. I'll be out of town, but others should come or go. Are there any questions or comments? Any members of the committee?
I just want, this is Alan. I want to be clear. So is the main access corridor from the atrium of City Hall and we're looking from the atrium at the back of the stage, it'd be on the right-hand side. Is that I guess there's two main corridors getting to the concert hall. It's the right side one, right?
Yeah, Alan, my thought is the last corridor, the last after the bend, towards the community room.
Where the
is what
people's
we're talking
gallery
about.
is? Where the
It's called the
gallery is.
It's called the People's Gallery, I think now.
Right.
Well, actually, that's a different hallway than I was thinking. That goes to community room. I thought you were talking about the hallway. My own perspective was if you're facing the back of the stage, it's on the left. You go down from the atrium down that way.
No, we were actually thinking towards the community room, and there is a very specific reason for that. And that is that Anita was in charge of every reception for the last 30 years. And so that corridor goes into the community room. And she was in charge of all the receptions. And so she literally walked down that hallway many, many, many times in her life.
Well, the one complicating factor, Alan, I don't know, is that already the Veterans Hall or?
Yeah,
that's the beginning. That's not the second one when you take the L.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking. It's like
I'm talking about the second one, Alan.
Yeah, so it'd be like the section near the newest planning and zoning office downstairs.
That's right. The last section right before you walk into the community room.
And would you propose a plaque that you guys would provide? And if so, what would it say?
Absolutely. We would say in recognition for her service to the city of Norwalk and the arts, we acknowledge her for this reason, something along those lines. Certainly the wording can be negotiated.
Questions, comments?
Just a
David?
question. Yeah, thanks, Tom. Chairman Livingston. Would there be another display as well? Or are we just talking about a plaque? Because I think, aren't there other items right now on display down that hall?
So this is Sandra. Yes, that part of the hallway is what the Norwalk Arts Commission has taken over as the People's Gallery, which is kind of a nice fit because it is art still, even though Anita was, very strongly involved with the musical arts, but it's a nice hallway because it really reflects the art. I know that you've done some moving around in the summer. The trophy cases for Parks and Rec were in that hallway at one point. I don't know if they got moved or not when Parks and Rec moved. But that was the part of the hallway there. And it really would be, in honor of Anita.
And we do have an award that we could, if it were appropriate, we could find some way to have a display case with the award and put the annual winners of that award. And those award winners are all people that have done, a heck of a lot for the city of Norwalk and the arts and music.
So I just want to be clear and understanding of this. So it's just really a name in the hallway, but in terms of displays in the hallway, the city will continue to, I don't know, like you said, the arts commission that's providing
Correct.
some. So that will continue. So you're not taking over the display of the walls or anything. It's just
Not
really
at all.
the hallway.
Not at all.
Mr. Burnett, you had a comment, question?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Livingston. Yeah, my question is really a logistical question in terms of, and I guess Alan to address the question, do we have other sections of City Hall that have hallways or vestibules or named after individuals?
No.
So this would be a first.
Yes, and even the veterans hallway, I don't believe, I may be incorrect, but I don't believe it actually went through Common Council and the whole public hearing to name a hallway because it's not named specific for a person. So the veteran hallway, I think it just so happens because somebody at City Hall is very interested in doing the recognition of the veterans in Norwalk. But at the same time, we have not named any of the hallways in City Hall, so this would be the first.
We do. There is the Mary McCarthy room, which was named after a music teacher and a music educator.
Right. Specific hallway.
Yes. Excuse me?
specific for hallway, we have.
Yeah, that's an actual room. So
Right.
I'd be happy to name a room after Anita, believe me, but
Well,
I'm trying to start low.
that's the nature of my question. I'm aware of rooms being named after individuals, but not hallways. So are we even at liberty to take this step, or is there something further that needs to be done before we can even entertain naming a hallway in City Hall after an individual?
I'm silenced on that because I know there's the there's a conference room on the second floor that's named after I forgot who it was. I think
B.
it's Brown,
Yeah,
right?
B. Brown.
And then also the common councils after Mayor Jenny Cave. So those are only two, and the Mayor McCarthy room. And then I think the community room was named after Tony Montana. But back then we don't have a whole procedure in place. So nowadays we do.
Alan, if I could just interrupt for a second, and Barbara, I'll come back to you. I know the question. The statute says the purpose of this article is to establish guidelines and formalize procedures when considering the naming or renaming of a city owner controlled building and facility or sections thereof. So I think that's pretty broad.
Yeah, that's why we were trying to figure out where the best place would be. And we knew that the community room had already been named. And so that's why we were focusing on that hallway. We're happy to have Anita's name be, honor Anita at any other place, but we thought this was the most appropriate place.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, my question is, why did you choose that particular hallway over one of the hallways on either side of the concert hall coming?
The reason really is very specific to Anita and to her life in the symphony and her life in the youth orchestra, and that is that she was always in charge of all of the receptions, as well as being on the board and being a fundraiser and other things. She was always in charge of the receptions, which happened in the community room after symphony concerts. So we'd love to honor her on that hallway because people will see it as they go to a reception after a symphony concert. And so that was the purpose of why we thought that was an appropriate place to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Other thoughts, questions? Alan, the next step would be what? I mean,
it's a public hearing, I believe.
I believe we have to schedule a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
I'm sorry, one last thing. When did she pass away?
She passed away. I don't know the exact date. Maybe Sandra, you do, but it's over a year ago.
Oh,
Yeah, the letter says November 18.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was last fall, I believe, right? So
a year, like 2018, I think.
Oh,
yeah, it was. That's what your letter says.
Yeah, it's 2018. Yeah, I'm looking. I guess I can look at it. Yeah, here it is. November 20th, 2018.
Yeah.
So it's more than a year, which I think is what
that's required. Yes.
What your statute says.
That's correct. Does somebody want to make a motion to hold a public hearing? Mr. Burnett, thank you. So we have a motion to schedule a public hearing for our next regularly scheduled meeting of November meeting. All in favor? Raise your hands. Let's do it that way. Any opposed? No, so it's unanimous.
Wow, I like that, Tom. You don't need a second. That's good.
No, we don't need that here. That's good. Well, thank you guys very much. We'll be back in touch about the hearing. It'll be 7:30 on November. What is it, Alan? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta look it up.
First Wednesday in November. All right, well, thank you.
I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all so much for hearing us in this matter. And again, please come by on Sunday and hear a free concert, and do support the Norwalk Symphony, because we're a little gem here in Norwalk. Thank you very much for the time for hearing.
Thank you,
us.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's turn to the next item, which is the discussion of requests from Mr. Gino Matera adjacent property owner to purchase city property located at the corner of West Cedar Street and Scribner Avenue. Subject to recommendation of the committee, possible action may include city to obtain an appraisals for city property for a portion of land the city to acquire from adjacent property owner, city staff to negotiate with adjacent property owner on purchase price, and refer recommendation to the planning commission for state statute section 8-24 review. Alan.
Yeah, I think the committee probably saw this maybe two, three times already. We scheduled a public hearing. Mr. Matera's request is to purchase the property for us. Is a triangular piece of property at the intersection. At the same time, the city needs a small piece of property from him to maintain a right-of-way width along West Cedar Street. So this been he has presented this. I think it's to the mayor as well as to the previous director of public works. And so the city, the DPW department actually prepared a survey, which is part of your within your package. There's a question I want to ask Mr. Matera, if you can unmute yourself.
There you go.
Hey, Gino, I have a question for you. The city's law department is very specific about the appraisal, and it has to be by a appraisal company that's hired by the city. So somehow along the way, somebody mentioned to you, you need appraisal, you went up prepared, you got appraisal prepared, but it's not acceptable to the law department because the appraisal need to be through the city of Norwalk and not from a company that you hired. So somehow we need to, me and you and the law department got to resolve this because we may have to go out for appraisal, but you will probably end up paying for that. Just want you to be aware of this this requirement. I don't know, I guess you probably got somebody when you through your conversation with city representative, somebody said, oh, you need appraisal, we're going blah, blah, and then you went out based on some information, you went out to get appraisal, is that correct?
I did. I actually don't recall who made the recommendation or who requested it. But if the city needs to do an appraisal and I need to pay for it, I've already agreed to do that.
Okay, so I have to work out with the law department whether that's whether somehow we work it out. Either we add to a purchase price or whatever it may be, kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. Besides that, I think there's the reason why this doesn't go to public bidding and stuff like that is because we need something from the property adjacent property owner, Mr. Matera's property. So we need something from him as well as he needs something from us. So with the appraisal, there will probably be two appraisal, one on the area that we need from him, and then there's appraisal from the city property. I think that's it. And also that, as Mr. Matera mentioned before, the property is triangular. It's if it's not impossible to build on, it's very difficult to build on, especially if the city going to retain a, I think it was storm drainage easement, or I forgot what it was, drainage easement across the property. So it makes the property, generally speaking, unbuildable. But he needed for access and also by selling this property, the city will no longer have a maintenance responsibility over the property.
So the next step for us, is it the send it to the planning commission or is there more?
Yeah, we send the planning commission, and at the same time, we will the law department will retain we got fee proposals already, so we will retain a appraiser to do the appraisals, and then at the same time, I will forward to planning commission for the 8-24. Gino, for your information, 8-24 means it's a state statute required the city selling the property to be forwarded to the planning commission for approval. And also, early this week we put a sign out there because I think that's one of the requirements of the city or the state that if a city sells property, we need to put a sign on the property for public notification. So there's a sign out there. So we'll probably take it down in a few days. The planning commission will look at it and make its recommendation. And they will come back to this committee. The reason being is we have not established the purchase price or selling price, whatever that is. So it will come back to the committee before it go to full common council, and which will be at that point be final approval.
All right, excuse me a second. I just want a record to note that Mr. Roberts just joined us. Hello, Kadeen. Okay, so then right now we just I should entertain a motion to send this matter to the Planning Commission for a Section 824 review, correct?
So
Yes,
moved.
and with the understanding that this, the committee is, generally speaking, authorizing the staff, which is me and law department, to look at, to get the appraisal, determine the reasonable value for a property, and that's what we'll present to the planning commission. I think when we present to planning commission, my proposal to them would be just, we wouldn't be a dollar amount, we just a fair market value. I think that's how it's going to present to planning. Typically, that's what we do, the fair market value for the property. And then we will bring it back to the land use committee for the actual amount.
Right, okay, but Mr. Hulaman has just moved the 824. Do you think we need to do more than that? or-
No, we don't. There's administrative work that
That's what
staff
I
need
thought.
to do.
Okay. I'll call for a vote. Just raise your hand, all in favor? Any opposed? Or abstentions? Kadeem, I'm sorry, I missed it. Did you get enough? Okay, thank you. So it's unanimous. All right, great.
Thank you, Gino.
All
Thank
right,
you, Mr.
thank you very
Matera.
much. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, let's keep moving to new business. It's on the Norwalk Public Schools. Item 1, review recommendation for the Brian McMahon High School Air Quality Improvement Design Services and refer the following to the Common Council for action. A, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Salomon and Associates PC for the Brian McMahon High School Indoor Air Quality Design Services for a total not to exceed $12,960. Account noted. B, authorize the Norwalk Public Schools Facilities Department to issue change orders on contract for a total not to exceed $2,500. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Ms. Smith. Bill, is this you? Bill, you gonna talk about it?
Yes, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So back about 2 years ago, we had Con OSHA come in and they assessed the indoor air quality issues at Brian McMahon. While they didn't come up with any readings that exceeded the limits, they made quite a few recommendations, 4 of which were determined to be addressed. 2 of the 4 have already been done. That includes cleaning of the pipe tunnels, the utility tunnels, and cleaning of the interior ductwork. The 2 items remaining were also identified a year later by Yukon Health. Those 2 items are in front of you, of which require a design engineer. Those 2 items include the utility tunnels, to place them under what we call negative pressure. In addition to that, the unit ventilators, air conditioners, if you will, in the 1200 wing, which are currently sucking outside air from moist grass, they require those intake airs to come some area above the grass. May it be 12 inches or 12 feet, we don't know yet, so as not to bring in moisture into the 1200 wing, thus add to the indoor air quality and possibly create mold. So we've gone out to bid for a design engineer. We've received the bids that have come back. We're recommending to you to hire Salomon and Associates for $12,960 to create a design for these last 2 items. And at that point, we will then be in front of you again with the recommended vendor to address the work and install whatever is needed based on the Salomon and Associates design.
Gotcha. Are there any illnesses associated with the ventilation system? I mean, what prompted this?
Illnesses? Well, we've gotten quite a few comments from teachers who have commented that they get a stuffy nose, various comments. This is prior to COVID. Nothing lately since we are all wearing masks and we're open 6 weeks now. But yes, there has been a number of health concerns that have been registered. But I do want to emphasize that all of the air tests that we've taken, both the Board of Ed with an independent lab and Con OSHA with their independent lab, have not exceeded any levels. So these are highly recommendations, which everybody collectively feels should be addressed.
Okay, I just want to follow that. So you said you're not getting, the readings aren't, you're not getting any readings from Connecticut OSHA, but these need to be addressed. Did I hear that right?
That is correct. So the readings they took did not exceed the levels, but the observations they made based on the complaints or comments from the faculty with colds and whatnot, these are the recommendations they made to address, to alleviate those health concerns that are coming in.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? Ms. Smith?
I'd just like to add a perspective. It seems like a lot of money for something that, we don't have significant readings regarding the issues, but I've long been aware of teacher complaints at Brian McMahon due to the air quality. And like you said, Bill, a lot of nasal type things, but sinus infections. And when you spend your entire day in one classroom like that, maybe the kids aren't quite as affected as the teacher would be because kids come and go. But I do have a personal experience in actually it was at PONUS, where I know that there was a classroom, it wasn't mine, but there was a classroom where a teacher was continually having sinus infections. And, year after year, after one teacher was in there and had problems, another one came in and had problems. And same thing, tests, nothing, was out of the, out of the ordinary in terms of the readings. But the teacher had constant sinus infections, was constantly having to take time off. And I know that personally, when I had meetings in that room, I was affected. So I think that those, that type of air quality can be very elusive, and it is a health concern. So, I just wanted to throw that out because I think that it seems like a lot of money, but I think it's important.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nadeem, are you in favor?
He's frozen.
I think he's frozen. And he's gone.
Nadeem, are you in favor? We lost you. Yeah, okay, so all in favor. So it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the school construction update. I guess that's you, Jim.
Okay, great. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, it probably makes sense if you can. Larry gives it to you.
Okay, can you see my
Yes.
screen? Okay. I wish I could scroll now. Oh, here we go. Overall project schedule, and I think we can get into the individual schedules as we're moving through the projects. PONUS Ridge, many of you know that the project has been completed and occupied. There are a few items that we are finishing up. There are a few furniture items that are still outstanding. I think actually we got a delivery today of some of those items, and the rest of the items we're anticipating for mid to late November. We did receive our certificate of occupancy the end of August. And we do remain within budget and are beginning the closeout process with our construction manager in truing up any outstanding costs and rebates back to the city. That process will be going on for a few more months before we finalize that. We did also put in a request for state reimbursement 2 weeks ago. It was about $1.1 million. So we will have 1 or 2 more state reimbursements on this project. moving forward as we continue to close out the project with the CM. Any questions?
Yes. Chairman Livingston, I have a question. Jim, it was brought to my attention that there's one or limited bathrooms for I guess the Jefferson students or the set. Well, let me ask the question this way. How many bathrooms does Ponus have?
Well, I think you're probably referring to the new addition if you make reference to the Jefferson School.
Yes.
The new addition has a two gang bathrooms, one boys and one girls, as well as individual teachers' bathrooms.
So that one bathroom, how many students is that one bathroom accommodating?
I can't, I want to say it's 3 stalls and 2 urinals in the boys, and it's 5 female stalls.
And is that done to state standards?
Correct, yes.
And also the kindergarten and pre-K class have their own bathrooms.
That's true. Yeah, pre-K, so there's 4, actually 6 classrooms that have their own bathrooms. As Alan said, the pre-K and 4 kindergarten.
And Jim, if I may, along that wing, there are also 6 individual adult bathrooms.
Correct. Those are the teachers' bathrooms.
Yes. Yes.
And
I'm just sharing that it was brought to my attention by multiple sources that the bathroom situation at Ponus for the Jefferson students was not adequate.
If I can respond to that, what they've done is they've moved students into the wing, obviously, as we know that, while all the students are on a normal non-COVID situation, requested to go to the gang bathrooms. Due to COVID and social distancing, they're trying to separate them. So now they're now sending students into adult bathrooms, single-use bathrooms. So that's where the comments are coming from, and they're perceived as complaints. But as Jim and Alan already noted, when you design a building, you design it based on fixture count and occupancy. So those levels have certainly are all in accordance to plumbing codes. Yet these comments are made, and I've addressed them with the administration there, that students are using adult bathrooms perceived as only one can use them, yet down the hall there is a gang bathroom with the fixtures that Jim already noted. So I think it's more of a management issue than it is a code issue.
And also last year, the middle school, Ponus is actually in there. So there was never an issue about number of bathrooms and number of stalls and stuff. I mean, it's been used since September of 2019 to the winter before we move. Anyway, before COVID. So.
David?
Sorry, thank you, Chairman Livingston. Just correct me if I'm wrong, Jim or Alan or Bill. I mean, there are also single-use bathrooms in the kindergarten rooms, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So in
kindergarten and pre-K.
Pre-K and
pre-K.
kindergarten have their own single-use toilets.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I guess I'm a little surprised to hear there's so many complaints, and I'd probably venture to, I recognize what Bill said is that, there's a management issue. I mean, if I think about the bathrooms in Ponus itself at the middle school level, there's one bathroom for boys and one for girls on the first floor and one on the second floor. And that's with serving what, 700 kids or 600 kids or something?
Yeah, it was close. I mean, at the height, it was just under 700. So
Yeah.
yes, you're right, Barbara. There were only, there was one boys, one girls on each floor in the middle school.
Yeah, but you know, I know it's an entirely different ballgame with the elementary level, and you know, kids have different needs, and but I think that's obviously something that needs to be addressed if there's a lot of complaints about it. But it sounds to me that there's probably enough bathrooms.
So Bill, are you working with the principal? I mean,
Yes, I've already met with Jeffrey Forzani and Dr. Lewis. I've walked the space, I've explained it to them. And again, it's more of a management issue. The fixture count is the fixture count, and that's based on required local code.
okay.
Yeah, and the gang bathrooms are for the most part centrally located. I mean, they're down one hallway a little bit further away from the pre-K and the K classrooms, because those have their own individual toilet rooms within their classrooms. So the bathrooms were essentially centrally located for grades 1 through 5. I'm not sure if that's an issue or not, but
I think had we not been in a COVID situation, we wouldn't be receiving complaints.
Okay,
Okay.
well, why don't we leave it, Bill, you keep talking with the principal, and if we hear more complaints, I don't know what we can do about it, but.
Sure thing. You know, I do want to note that all of the schools have received portable sinks, and we've located them in strategic areas just so they can frequently wash their hands. Obviously, you can't really do that with a toilet, so more so that this is a management issue, which I stress to them. I met with them again on Monday night.
also, Bill, the new addition, the elementary school addition at Ponus has a sink in every classroom.
Yes, you are correct. With the elementary school, that is the model. And on top of that, we added even more.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, let's keep moving.
Okay. Highlighting the schedule, we're in the closeout phase. Jefferson Renovate is new. We did receive from the state earlier this month the renovation status approval letter, which officially gives us the renovation status. Jefferson is now located at Ponus. However, we do have students located in Jefferson now as a result of the social distancing. And the Board of Ed anticipates to use that school until the end of the 2021 school year. However, with that said, we are still moving forward on schedule with regards to drawings being completed, the state performing their review and going out to bid. We have discussed the option of perhaps starting some of the exterior work, more specifically the new gymnasium or the removal of the existing portables and then the construction of the new gymnasium to be able to start some construction at Jefferson and not disturb the students inside. That is something that we're considering, and we need to have discussions, further discussions with our construction manager. But the construction manager is aware that full access to Jefferson will not be until mid-June of 2021.
Existing Jefferson School, it's my understanding that it's currently housing students from Silvermine, and also a pre-K classroom that's used for Naramik kids. I think that's about the usage. I don't know how much of Silvermine using that school. there is a financial cost to not starting. It's not substantial. So, but at the same time, is the earlier we get that building back for construction, the less costly it is for the project, because we are at some point we are on the holding off the construction, and at the same time we're going out to bid. So there's some, me and Jim need to work out some of these issues so that we will manage the cost of the project, and also go out to bid as soon as we can. It's actually a good thing because the construction industry, it's slow subsequent to during COVID period. So we should be getting very competitive pricings. So I think that's one of the reasons why we want to maintain the speed that we go on this.
Yeah, so Alan, before, it's interesting, you said before, and I think you're saying it's still, that we're still on schedule, even with the students in the building now, to get this done in the time we allocated. You're just saying that it may cost us a little more because we're pushed out 6 months or whatever?
Well, basically we're pushed out about 4 months. So it's not substantial. It's like, because we have agreement with Newfield, and as the team is set up, so we probably end up with one or two person that we have to pay some salaries to because they are committed to this project. But that's why we want to use them, since we're paying for them. Well, we'll be paying for them. We want to start the project so that the money is not wasted for staff. We want to start. I mean, either way, we can use them to get submittal construction submittal process and start that going. But to the extent that we can start some construction, it's more cost effective to us.
What kind of money are we talking about?
I would say it's. I'm making it up here. We haven't really sat down and worked it out. I would say somewhere around $50,000.
Oh, okay. All right, I thought we were talking like $500,000 or something. Okay.
Oh no. I mean, Jim, what do you think? I mean, again, we haven't calculated anything. I mean, it's a few months, about 50 grand if anything.
Okay. All right.
And we probably find ways for them to absorb it anyway. But still, to the extent we can start construction, it's that much better.
All right. Any further questions on this?
Okay, and schedule, we are actually on schedule with this. Cranberry Elementary School submitted the grant application. We have selected Antonazi Associates as the architect for the project. Program meetings will be set up with the administration and staff, and I think they're set up for Monday the 12th with the staff and principal, if I'm not mistaken. I'm reviewing the commissioning services RFP, and I'll get that out for bid within the next month. The construction manager, as we said, as I stated earlier, has been selected, or I'm sorry, the process is being gone through. We'll be presenting at the next land use or the November land use meeting. But we narrowed it down to 4 CMs. We interviewed the 4 CMs, and 3 were deemed more likely to receive the RFP, and we issued the RFP to these CMs, and we're in the process of reviewing their RFP responses.
Okay. Any
Sorry
questions
about that. I stumbled through this one. I was thinking it was Columbus for some reason.
Any questions on Cranberry? All right.
Okay. Naramik, we have started design meetings again with Antonazi Associates, and program meetings as well. We've met with the school administration as well as the food service provider. We will begin, design drawings have begun. We are going to go out for construction manager on this project. Alan and I had debated whether or not we should do a construction management delivery method or a general contractor delivery method. And after consultation with the architects, we decided that probably the best delivery method for this particular project would be the construction management delivery method. And I guess I can explain the difference between the two. In a general contracting delivery method, the drawings and specifications and the phasing and all the general requirements for the project are done prior to engaging a construction firm. So all the documents are put together, the design is done, and then we issue it publicly to general contractors, and they respond with a lump sum fee or a lump sum price, and we have them start the project. Now, if there's any changes on that, they do come back with change orders. What we were concerned with on Naramik, even though it is a small project, it does require phasing, and it does require coordination with an active school during the renovations and creation of the new cafeteria as well as the media center. On a construction management delivery method, the construction manager is engaged early on during the design process, and we work together to work through the phasing requirements, and this construction manager will write specific scopes of work for the trade contractors and make them responsible for specific items as it relates to phasing and safety, things of that nature. So again, because of the nature of this project, even though it is small, we do interact with the school, or we will be interacting with the school. And as a result, we felt that the CM delivery method was the better delivery method for this particular project. So with that said, the RFQs were sent out and our responses are due tomorrow, and we will be doing the review process of those responses over the next week or two. And by the end of October, have a selection to be presented to land use for the November meeting.
Jim, could you just state when do you intend to start construction, and when do you anticipate finishing this project?
Well, we intend to start construction in May, and we look to finish by the beginning of November.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on Naramik?
That was very formal.
No, that's good. Thanks.
Okay. Norwalk High School, as some of you may know, that it was in the papers that the state has approved 189 million at 80% reimbursement in the special legislation last week, or in the construction bill last week. And we have until December 31st to complete the grant application, which we are currently working on. We're looking to get that completed by the end of this year, the grant application, and begin moving with this project. Any questions on Norwalk High School? Moving on to Columbus. We have had, Alan and I have had discussions with the Norwalk Public Schools Board of Ed and discussing options for moving forward with this project. And as we further discuss, our schedule will be more refined. Right now, again, until we nail down exactly what we're doing, the schedule here is going to be off. I'll probably remove this so that way we just don't get confused with it. Any questions on New Columbus? Okay, and then the Norwalk Global Academy, again, is dependent on the status of the New Columbus project. Any other questions? Okay, we could do Maritime Aquarium.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm having a,
While he's getting that, Al and I have been talking about having a tour for anybody who's interested in seeing the progress that's being made there. So we'll circulate, or Alan or I will circulate an email invitation. We're thinking not next week, but the following week for those who are interested in joining us.
And I would like to suggest maybe Tuesday, and it's probably like 3:30 or so, 3 o'clock to 3:30. Excuse me, because the construction folks are probably they probably end around 3 o'clock, so 3:30 may be a good time kind of thing to look at the facility.
Just
This
whoever's
picture is,
interested.
this picture is actually an earlier picture. I mean, just they all blocked in, so all the mason work is all done by actually today was probably the last day on the exterior brickwork, and the windows are in as the end of today. So the substantial improvement, substantial work has been completed on the inside. So where the blue fence is, where you see in the picture, all that area is being regraded, and we are looking to start looking at getting it graded so that we can start putting a new plaza and sidewalk in along the front, that's going to be the new entrance and ticketing area. So it is moving along very aggressively.
I had some aerials done last week. I'll be able to put those in for the next monthly update.
Any questions on that? Okay, great. Alan, Alan or Jim, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, then we'll be done. We can all go eat something or drink something before the debate. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Tom. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks.
Hey.
Alan.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
Bye.